Ser Duncan the Tall.
Never heard of him.
Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master, and today we're diving deep into one of the most legendary figures in Westerosi history, Ser Duncan the Tall, a man who started as a poor orphan in the slums of King's Landing and rose to become the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard under King Aegon V Targaryen. His story is one of grit, honor, tragedy, and a legacy that echoes all the way through the Game of Thrones timeline. So let's break down his origins, his rise to knighthood, his adventures with young Prince Aegon, better known as Egg, and how the two of them changed the course of Westerosi history.
What chance do I have? Play it.
From Flea Bottom to Hedge Knight, Dunk was born in the filth and chaos of Flea Bottom, King's Landing's most infamous slum. Like so many of its residents, he never knew his parents. He was an orphan, scraping by on the streets, hustling for food with his childhood friends, Ferret, Rafe, and Pudding. They were troublemakers, even calling themselves little monsters. And Dunk was the biggest and roughest of them all. From his earliest days, he was towering over the other street kids. Strong, broad-shouldered, and surprisingly kind for someone growing up in such a cruel place. His massive frame was both a gift and a curse. It made him intimidating, but it also drew attention in the wrong ways. Dunk believed his father might have been a criminal, and though he dreamed of finding out where he came from, his true family would be the one he built on the road. His life changed forever when Ser Arlan of Pennytree, a wandering hedge knight, found him chasing a pig through the streets. Seeing something in the boy, maybe potential, maybe pity, Ser Arlan took him in as his squire. Dunk was about 5 or 6 years old. For the first time, he had a roof over his head, a purpose, and someone to look up to. Together, they traveled across Westeros, serving lords, joining hunts, and even helped in the hunt for the Vulture King. Arlan trained Dunk in swordplay and chivalry, though he often joked that Dunk was as thick as a castle wall. But for all his clumsiness, Dunk had heart, courage, and a moral compass that never wavered. He dreamed of becoming a knight of the Kingsguard one day, the highest honor a warrior could imagine. He didn't have noble blood, but he had something rarer in Westerosi: integrity. The Tourney at Ashford Meadow. By the year 209 AC, Dunk was roughly 16 or 17 years old. He and Ser Arlan were traveling to Ashford Meadow in the Reach, where grand tourney was being held, but tragedy struck. Ser Arlan fell ill on the road and died. Dunk buried his mentor with his own hands and made a decision that would change his life forever. He would compete in the tourney himself, taking Ser Arlan's place. He dubbed himself Ser Duncan the Tall, claiming, at least in name, to be a knight. Whether Arlan had truly knighted him or not is uncertain, but Dunk carried the legacy of the man with him. On the way, he met a bald-headed boy named Egg, who begged to be his squire. Dunk, assuming he was just another poor street urchin, reluctantly agreed. He had no idea that Egg was actually Prince Aegon Targaryen, the fourth son of Prince Maekar Targaryen. At the tourney, Dunk's kindness led him into conflict with one of the most dangerous people he could have crossed, Prince Aegon Targaryen, known later as Aerion Brightflame. Aerion assaulted a puppeteer named Tanzel, and Dunk, in true knightly fashion, defended her. Unfortunately, he didn't realize he was striking a prince. That act of chivalry got him arrested and nearly cost him his life. To clear his name, Dunk agreed to a trial by 7 champions fighting on each side. Dunk's side included noble allies like Lord Lionel Baratheon, Sir Robin Riesling, and even Prince Baelor Breakspear, the heir to the Iron Throne. Aerion's side included his brother Daeron, Maekar, and members of the Kingsguard. The fight was brutal. Dunk fought with every ounce of strength he had, ultimately defeating Aerion in single combat. But victory came at a terrible price. Prince Baelor was struck down and killed by his own brother Maekar during the chaos. Dunk was devastated. Baelor had believed in him when no one else would, and his death weighed heavily on Dunk's conscience for the rest of his life. To make amends, Maekar offered Dunk a place in his household, allowing him to train young Prince Aegon as his squire. Dunk accepted, but insisted on remaining a hedge knight. He believed a life of wandering and hardship would teach Egg humility, something every Targaryen desperately needed.
You don't have dogs!
I'll get some.
Where?
Oh!
Dunk and Egg's Adventures. What followed were the legendary tales of Dunk and Egg, chronicled in the Hedge Knight, the Sworn Sword, and the Mystery Knight. These stories not only shaped their friendship, but also laid the foundation for the future of the Targaryen dynasty. Their first journey took them to Dorne. Traveling through the harsh deserts, Dunk insulted Lady Casella Vaith, his first encounter with the noblewoman, and nearly caused a diplomatic disaster. But his honest heart often got him through situations that his brain couldn't. Their adventures continued when they took service with Sir Eustace Osgrey at Standfast, a crumbling keep in the Reach. There, they got entangled in a feud with Lady Rohan Webber of Coldmoat. What began as a dispute over a stream turned into a tense confrontation that nearly erupted into war. Dunk, as always, tried to do the right thing. He fought for Eustace in trial by combat, defeating Rohan's champion, Sir Lucas Inchfield, in a muddy, brutal fight. Though wounded, he survived and developed a complicated affection for Lady Rohan. Their parting was bittersweet, marked by a kiss and a lock of her braided hair that Dunk kept as a memento. Next came the Mystery Knight, set during the Second Blackfyre Rebellion. Dunk and Egg found themselves at a wedding at White Walls, where old Blackfyre loyalists secretly plotted to crown a new pretender, Daemon Blackfyre II. Dunk, disguised as a Mystery Knight with a sigil of a hanged man, uncovered the plot and fought bravely to expose the conspirators. His courage and Egg's quick thinking helped prevent the rebellion before it even began. It was here that Dunk learned how dangerous politics could be and how easily honor could be twisted by ambition. The rise of a legend. Years passed and Dunk's legend grew. He was no longer just a hedge knight. He was a symbol of true knighthood. His loyalty, courage, and moral strength became the stuff of song. And Egg, the bald-headed boy who followed him, would one day ascend the Iron Throne as King Aegon V Targaryen, known as Aegon the Unlikely. As king, Aegon never forgot the man who taught him humility. He appointed Dunk to the Kingsguard and eventually Lord Commander of it. That was the dream Dunk had carried since he was a boy in Flea Bottom, realized in full. During his time as Lord Commander, he fought in the 4th Blackfyre Rebellion in 236 AC, personally slaying Daemon III Blackfyre. This victory helped cement his place among the greatest knights in Westerosi history. But Dunk wasn't just a warrior. He was a man of principle. When Prince Duncan Targaryen, Aegon's son, fell in love with a common girl named Jenny of Oldstones, Dunk supported the young prince's right to choose love over politics. That decision, however, caused a rebellion led by Lord Lionel Baratheon. Dunk once again fought for honor as King Aegon's champion, defeating Lionel and ending the short-lived uprising. Even in his later years, Dunk remained a legend among knights. At a winter tourney in King's Landing, he was defeated by a young Barristan Selmy, who would later become one of the most famous Kingsguard knights in Westeros. It's poetic that Barristan's rise came through Duncan's fall, the passing of the torch between two paragons of chivalry. But every great story in Westeros ends in tragedy. In 259 AC, King Aegon V attempted something desperate, an experiment meant to bring dragons back into the world. The event, known as the Tragedy of Summerhall, went horribly wrong. Fire consumed the castle, killing Aegon, Prince Duncan, and many others. Ser Duncan the Tall was among them. Details are scarce, but it's said that Dunk's bravery saved several lives that day, pulling people from the flames until he perished himself. His end was as noble as his life, dying to save others. Summerhall's ruins stood as a haunting reminder of both his courage and Aegon's fatal dream. Duncan's legacy. Though Duncan's body was lost to the flames, his legacy lived on. His story became a symbol of what knighthood truly meant. Not birthright, not titles, but honor, humility, and heart. Even generations later, his influence could still be felt. When Prince Rhaegar Targaryen was born at the ruins of Summerhall, many whispered that the tragedy that claimed Duncan and Aegon had marked the Targaryen bloodline forever. Some fans even speculate that Dunk's blood survived, possibly through a secret lineage connecting him to Brienne of Tarth, who shares both his height and his moral compass. While George R.R. Martin has never confirmed it, the parallels are impossible to ignore. And then there's his namesake, Prince Duncan Targaryen, known as Duncan the Small, named in his honor. That alone shows the deep bond between King Aegon and the man who shaped him into the ruler he became. Why Duncan the Tall still matters. What makes Duncan the Tall so special is that he represents the ideal knight, the kind Westeros always claimed to value, but rarely saw. He wasn't driven by ambition or glory. He didn't crave wealth or castles. His sense of justice came from within. He defended the weak, stood up to tyrants, and never let pride corrupt him. He came from nothing, an orphan scraping by in Flea Bottom, and became one of the greatest men in the realm. His life proves that nobility isn't born, it's earned through action. For all his simplicity, Dunk's choices shaped the future. His guidance made Aegon a better man and a fairer king. His compassion reminded the Targaryens of their duty to their people, and his courage, from Ashford Meadow to Summerhall, left a mark that history would never erase. Our nerdy thoughts. So the next time you hear the name Duncan the Tall, remember, he wasn't just a knight. He was the embodiment of Westeros's best ideals. In a world where power and corruption ruled, Dunk was a rare flame of decency that burned bright, even if, in the end, it was consumed by fire. Thanks for watching, and if you're as hyped for HBO's A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms as we are, hit that like button and drop your favorite Dunk moment in the comments. And as always, this is your nerdy show. I'm Spoiler Master, and I'll see you in the next one.